everyone. Welcome to week 2 of malware reverse engineering or malware analysis, week 2 at Eastern Michigan. And I would like to wish everyone a happy MLK, Martin Luther King Day, which is Monday, January 19th. And at the time of this filming, it will be tomorrow. And, anyways, we should all celebrate and research and figure out, the underlying conditions, such as Rosa Parks and so many other heroes, modern day contemporary heroes. That being said, let's worry now, or let's concern ourselves now with how to protect everyone, regardless of race, creed, or point or place of origin. Let's all protect everyone from the evil, I'm going to say, criminal syndicates that are out there that are creating these viruses and pieces of malware. I was almost going to say Walmart. I'm sorry, because secretly, I do have personally something against these big businesses like Walmart and Amazon that are buying up, all the property out there artificially, enhancing or increasing the property values, leaving normal people such as you and I unavailable or giving us the inability to actually purchase a house, which was back in the 1950s and 60s, 70s, and 80s, and 90s, and even early 2000s. It was supposed to be the American dream. Unfortunately, the American dream has slowly been eroding as the I'm going to say profitability of these billionaire corporations seems to have risen. That being said, sorry to go on that little tangent on this introductory video, which was supposed to be all of 1 minute, but some of you are like, okay, this is, I like to organize this with what, why, and how, or what, how, or and why. But anyways, covering what we're actually doing today, what we're actually doing in this class. This class is all about how we can all combat against this seemingly endless stream of malware viruses that seem to be affecting everyone and anything. So some of you are like, well, what is the why can't we just break into the Fort Knox? Why can't we just break into the encapsulation, or break into the encryption that these banks have and just steal money, or just why can't these bad guys, why can't these nefarious individuals, why can't they just break encryption? Why do they need to create this malware to inflict pain on all of us? Why can't they just go after these big banks and enterprises? And that is because, at least our government is protected by AES, and AES has never been cracked. Okay, so that's one thing. So they have to create these pieces of malware and then we usually wind up downloading it unwittingly when we click on a link or something like that, and it infects our inside computer. And a lot of malware is what we call persistent, meaning that it doesn't do anything obvious. It just sits, it cracks into your PC. It is able to obfuscate itself and pretend that it's a legitimate program, and in some cases it reprograms our Windows registry, so it doesn't even register, or your computer doesn't even detect it as a piece of malware, but it just sits there. And that is the worst kind of situation to be in, when you think everything is correct, but this virus attacks your computer, or attacks any of your client devices. It doesn't need to be your computer. It could be any client device, anything with an IP address, any what they call a node. It sits there, rests on this on the hard drive of the node, and then it just collects information, or it does something to the appliance or whatever it resides on to do something nefarious. For example, smart TV. I once saw a TED talk, and maybe you already heard me say this. I once saw a TED talk that said a smart TV, you can substitute the word smart for exploitable. So we all have smart TVs, right? You can spend $300 at Walmart and get a 4K TV, 40 inches or 50 or 60 inches, and it's $400. And sorry about that. I'm actually using Google Meet to record this so I can also present my desktop too. Anyways, and I had to click on that because Google Meet's like, "Are you still there?" But hey, it's our computer talking, my computer talking to me, right? Anyways, so you go to Walmart, you buy this TV, and then it's like, wait a second, it's a smart TV. So we have smart refrigerators and smart microwaves and smart ovens and smart washing machines and dryers. So suddenly, because it's a smart device, meaning it can carry an IP address if you configure it, which means it is governed by the notions of Internet of Things or IoT. Well, guess what? Because it has an IP address, it's like a window into your system. That's just an extra access that the nefarious individuals, nefarious agents can use to get into your home. So if your smart TV is exploited, that means it can do things like record you, because every smart TV probably has a camera on it. So it's while you're watching the TV, it is watching you. Okay, so what the end of the TED talk, what the guy said was, you can substitute the word smart for exploitable. So we have smart TVs. It is an exploitable TV. We have smart refrigerators. I don't know what the purpose of these fancy new products, these refrigerators with an IP address, with a CPU inside of it. It's nuts. And they say, well, you can see right away. It can send a signal to your cell phone to see whether or not you're low on milk. Come on. I mean, come on. Are we that like inept that we can't like open up our own refrigerator? Or if we're at the store, we can't call our spouse and say, can you look in the refrigerator to see where we are in milk, because I'm right by the milk. So, or the audacity of just making sure you buy milk just to make sure you have it. And okay, if you already had the milk, okay, so it's like $3 down the drain. Anyways, that being said, we live in a world that is electronically centric. We live in a world where supposedly these enterprises think we crave these smart devices when all we want is an affordable place to live. We want appliances and products to be affordable. So that means maybe we don't need devices with CPUs in them. We don't need washing machines with CPUs. Anyways, that being said, how are we approaching this week and week 2? Well, if you look at your syllabus, you'll see that this week, I should say, we're going to be studying static techniques. So in other words, if we download a piece of malware or any program, how can we look at it? How can we analyze it without actually running it? We don't want to run it, because when we run it, we have to make sure it's in a safe, secure environment so it doesn't infect all the local devices. So we're not going to worry about that right now. A static technique means we isolate the malware and we look at it without running it. So that's what we call that's called a static technique, meaning it's not dynamic. We're not running it. Okay, so that is how we're going to do that. Now, prior to actually, one of the techniques to statically analyze a piece of malware is disassembling it in the first place. And a good disassembly tool is, if you want to look at that and analyze it, that's what that Ghidra book is all about. We're not going to focus on that at all. We're going to focus on just the notion of disassembling malware. But in order to do that, I think it would be best to also study assembly in the first place. So we're going to briefly touch on what assembly languages is, or what assembly languages are. And when we do that, we can see the limitations of conceptually what assembly language does, and then if we can then apply the limitations of disassembly. Okay, and now when we do that, we're gonna have to download maybe a couple of apps, which is fine. Now the question is why? Why are we doing this? Well, take a look here. At my screen, we can see the world's biggest data breaches and hacks, and we can see, hold on, AT&T, and this is 2024, AT&T, 73 million, this would be records or individuals. 73 million records or individuals were hacked, meaning they had their information stolen. 73 million records lost. Sensitive data 2019 from 7.6 current AT&T discounts. Indonesia's health agency, and this is bad. When you're talking about health agencies, many times they're collecting data from whatever local population is there unwittingly. So we have health agencies that are also collecting our data here in the United States. And so we unwittingly have to rely on their processes and procedures to protect our data, and they're not doing that. National public data. Look at how many records are lost. Ticketmaster, 560 million, and that's just in 2024. And this is 2025. Qantas, almost 6 million records lost. This is just, and then you can click on it to read more. Episource, and these are, that's a funny name. And then we have this one here, Cartier, 100, Cartier, isn't that like don't they make purses or something, or Cartier watches, or I don't know what they are, like high-end stuff. And 100,000 records lost, luxury fashion brand warned customers of a data breach. Look at this, Twitter, 200 million. That's in 2024. Look at 2022, 533 million. Microsoft, 30 million. I mean, isn't Microsoft supposedly the experts out there? Look at that, United Health. They're one of the largest healthcare organizations out there, 190 million. Okay, so the need for managing malware, the need for reverse engineering, the need for protecting, all of us, the consumer, from these enterprises, from themselves. I mean, I'm sure the CEO of, Facebook or Canva or AT&T doesn't wake up in the morning and say, ooh, how can I steal my customer's data? No. I mean, I think most people are good. But the problem is, the agents, these nefarious agents, are better. That is the problem. They are better at what they do. They are better at robbing our data than Dell is at protecting our data. Do you understand? So it's like you could. We're going through the NFL playoffs right now. Does Josh Allen enjoy going home after losing to the Broncos? No, but the Broncos coaching and the Broncos offensive linemen and the Broncos defense and the play calling was just better. That is the point. That the nefarious people out there are just better at what they do than Dell and AT&T are and Microsoft are at protecting us. That's why we need to do this. Anyways, I will see you in the next video.